Raymond, the last time we saw China conduct a large scale military exercises, Beijing usually announces what they're doing and for how long. With this recent surge in activity from China, why do you think they haven't announced anything?
Part of it, at least in my mind, is I'm trying to actually ratchet down the temperature. They need to respond, or at least they think they need to respond in some way to Ching-te's trips to the Pacific Islands, as well as stopping over in Hawaii and Guam. They consider that a provocation. So they think they have to respond to this. At the same time, I think Joint Sword 2024B, it was so short and so sudden, partly because, and called off so quickly, partly because, they were kind of relying upon, I think, a political narrative. With 2024A, they could say, like, look, Lai Ching-te, his speech was quite provocative. I didn't necessarily think so, but, at least they could hang their hat on that. With 2024B, there really wasn't much there with a double 10-day speech for China to justify a large-scale military exercise. Similarly, so I think they got a little bit burned from that. The issue here is that, Beijing really doesn't want to internationalize the issue. They want the cross-strait relations just to be a bilateral question.
And Taiwan's defense ministry said that China has deployed its largest naval fleet in nearly 3 decades since 1996. What do you make of that increase in activity?
And I think these 90 or so ships includes some amount of Coast Guard vessels, maritime patrol, and administration. And so you're seeing their increasing integration. Many of these vessels are quite capable in and of themselves, at least against non-military forces or units. But this is also a really wide area, right? We're talking thousands and thousands of miles of coastline and ocean, but at the same time, the use of military alongside, let's say, administrative or law enforcement units is relatively good practice for the PLAN and the the People's Liberation Army Navy, and the Chinese Coast Guard to enhance their operational and joint operational capacity.
In terms of what China wants to accomplish with this surge in activity, do you think this is more of a show of force, or is this an actual practical exercise that they're using to practice some sort of future operation?
Well, there's no doubt that it's to some degree a practical movement. That it is practice is operational training or training for the ultimate operation. Now, whether that's gray zone or invasion, that depends on the types of training that they actually do. But at the same time, you still have to worry about the capabilities. The ability to rapidly advance that many ships, even across that big of an area, is concerning. And so raising alerts, I think certainly makes sense. Having forces to at least monitor what's going on and demonstrate presence, I think, is also a good sign as well.